58, and I'm so super excited to be here. We got Lex Marpy in the house. Lex, what's going on, man? How you doing? We got Chris, the idea guy, in the house, too. Tonight is a fun night. We are in for some polarizing marketing. Let's go to Mr. Les Murphy. What is your win, my friend, from the past 7 days?
I gotta tell you, it's gonna sound corny, but I've gotta say it. My win is being on Train or Die tonight. The last time I was on Train or Die, I had been like a year ago. It was like Ads Manager Mania, Master Your Hustle, something like that. And you guys were helping me. And now here I am. I'm presenting. So it just goes to show you kids, just give it some time and I'll ask anybody out here.
Loving it, loving to hear that. That's super awesome. Super excited to have you here. And we have returning three-peat champion, Mr. Aaron Ellis. What's up, dude?
How's it going?
So good. How are you?
Is this my fourth then? Or no, not yet, but will it be? Potentially, possibly.
You are talking it into the future, my man.
How I show up and flow tonight, who knows? We'll see what happens.
Loving that. Yeah, for sure. I'm so excited tonight because I always learn great stuff from you. What is your win from the last 7 days? By the way, guys, write your wins in the chat roll. We want to know what your wins are. Aaron, what's yours, man?
My win for the last 7 days, I would say, is surviving the heat in Texas and swimming in a swimming pool every single day. That's my win.
Hey. That's what's up.
Honestly, everything's going awesome with the TV show, getting ready to, do the events and everything. So everything's just been going amazing, and it truly is a win for me to be surviving this season. So
that's it. And of course, Mr. Chris, the idea guy, the original co-host of Digital Genius Radio. I don't know where my intro was going there. I was like, what's happening here? Chris, what's up, dude?
It's hard to keep naming all the names and titles.
Every time.
Yes, just hanging in. My win is we made it to Pismo Beach. We drove just under 7 hours in the car with a 1 and 3 year old, and it went pretty good. Like there was just one part where they lost their minds a little bit, but outside of that went really great. Hey, always a shout out and World Tours. I haven't worn the shirt for a little bit. I see Lex Marpy is all that's left. We got to get into the superhero name.
We do. No, that's a whole other Friday update. I am rocking the swag here. I was gonna rock more swag, but even up here in Northeast Ohio, it's like 100 degrees, so I can't put a sweatshirt on, even in air conditioning and a fan. So
awesome.
Yeah. So you're all swagged out. I like it. So yeah, when the beach is not Texas, it is not Ohio. It is nice here. Not gonna lie. That's exciting. That's my big win. I'll kick it back over. Well, I'm going to send it back to you, Sean, but we can't forget about the people in the chat.
Yeah, we got to read those. What are the wins here? Why don't we have Lex Marpy? You want to read some of those wins out? Where you at, man? I'd love to have you out there read some of them things.
I'm right here. I'm going to go out of order just because one of these really caught my eye. Rowena Crimpton.
Yeah, from Australia.
Saw a whale during my ocean swim this morning. One, that's a win right there, but I would be terrified. There would be something else swimming behind me after that, and I'd be out of the water. Surviving the heat index. Abby Riley filmed, edited, posted a new retargeting ad today. Massive win there. I hope that works out for you. Claudia, I can't see your full last name. I'm sorry, it happens. Started a new conversion ad, also having great conversations with leads. Awesome. Mama Malone, new buyer today. Right there. She's the one to watch out for. Right there.
She's on fire.
Top of the leaderboard.
She's on fire right now. Yeah, for sure.
But let's not skip Ann Frady.
Yeah, Ann Frady.
On Mama Malone's team, and she got her first buyer.
First buyer. Hey-oh. Ding, 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 ding. Winner. That's amazing. Aaron Ellis, how did you feel when you got your very, very first buyer for your business?
Wow. We got to go back in time for me. I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid. So I would say what came to mind, honestly, Sean, is when I signed my first record deal when I was 15. That was a larger-than-life dream come true for me.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I can't even explain it. It was just like almost disbelief.
That's pretty crazy that young. I mean,
15.
Shock and awe. And I actually go through life that way now with zero attachment expectations. I'm constantly in shock and awe. So.
What was the genre of music at the time that you were playing? Still the same?
Rock and roll or or if you want to go back to a year ago, January, when I still had hair, I was part of the pretty boy rock phase, not glam. You know, I did wear eyeliner and stuff like that, but I was more the Bon Jovi White Lion, not the Poison phase. So
Yeah.
we were called pretty boy rockers.
Pretty boy rockers. I like it.
I love that. All right, Chris, is there any other wins in the chat roll?
There's things we just can't skip over, like Rowena's story continuing to expand because there were dolphins that she also saw. I'm not gonna, like, it would be really cool to swim with dolphins. Out in the ocean would be a different feel. You know, like, I mean, have you guys ever done, like, I did one where the dolphin puts his nose on your foot and it, like, you just glide through the water, like a really funny commercial. That, I don't know, it'd be a different feel in the ocean, though, so that's awesome, Raina. Thank you for sharing. Jaylee says, that's winning at life. Amanda, her win is that she started running a new ad, which is a great win. So thank you guys for sharing your wins. Paul says big hair. Mama Malone says rock and roll is my time. I can see Mama Malone rocking out. So that's what's going on in the chat, Sean.
That's awesome. But before we give that up, guys, I want everyone to rate Chris's beard. I think it's like on a scale of 1 to 8, right? 8 is great in the chat, or 1 if you don't think it's great. Because I want to know. I was thinking about, you got 11. You're already off the chart.
I only saw 1. I was like, 1. I was like, nice. This is going downhill fast.
Les, what do you think Chris's beard should rate at?
1, Rick Ross.
You know what? It's really hard to rate a beard just from a picture because I want to get in there. I want to feel it. Is it luscious? Does he have anything stuck in there? So on spec, I will give him an 8, but I reserve the downgrade in person.
That's it. Show up to Digipalooza. That's a great segue. Show up to Digipalooza and you will get to touch the beard, according to Jay Lee.
Free beard touches from Chris.
Yes.
If you go to Digipalooza.
Yeah, guys.
Auctioning off this as a bonus.
So good. It's going to be a bonus on a stack slide somewhere in this arsenal at some stage. I'm super excited about that, guys. Don't forget about Digipalooza coming up this October. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, go over to digi-pa-luza.digitalgeniuslab.info. Grab your tickets now because they are selling out like hotcakes. Crazy! It's going to be a fun mastermind with lots of really good stuff for you guys. If you haven't heard about it, go to that site, check it out. Go check it out on the DGL page. And that is my shameless plug for Digipalooza right now. Chris, do you want to add anything to the shameless plug?
The shameless plug. Beard touches might apparently are in there for $5. You have to PayPal Jay Lee. But on a more serious note, events are so powerful. Get out of your element. Get around other like-minded people. It's like diet and exercise. It's the thing you do, and you never regret it. You're like, man, I'm so glad I made myself do this. But the beginning part is uncomfortable. I got to find a way for time. I got to find a way for money. But then you do it, and you're like, I'm so glad I did that. So, that's my plug that I'll keep harping on because it's true, and that's the experience that I've had with events.
Yeah, and I know, Aaron, you're a massive event. You are an event thrower, not just an event goer. Can you talk about the difference of being a goer versus a thrower versus a knower?
Wow, you know what? I love going to events. I also love facilitating events. I love both. I guess the difference is, it's the funny thing is there's somewhat of a difference. But even when I am facilitating an event, I am constantly oscillating into student mode and teacher mode. So, with the last event we threw that Chris came and spoke at, I immediately stepped into student mode with him. So, I kind of flow both ways when I go, whether I'm facilitating or actually attending.
Dude, that's
so
awesome.
I love it.
Like, flow, go, no, and throw.
Yeah, I don't know. That was cool. That's what happens. Anyways, all right, guys. I've been combing through the DGL page and looking for. We're moving right into the Golden Belt series tonight. Hot and heavy because I'm super excited. I've been combing through the DGL page and I've been looking for questions that you guys have been asking because one of the coolest things that we can do for you to grow your business in a faster fashion is to bring people out that know how to crush the deal or the issues or the things that you're going through and you're posting it on the page. That's why we have the scientists. That's why we have that page for an outlet for you guys to, hey, this is going on in my world and it sucks. So 2 things that I caught tonight, and I'm so excited to have both of these speakers here tonight to go head to head. One of them has to do with a little bit of tech. So we're going to get a little techie tonight, which is always fun. And then the other one is really more of a mindset shift or just a pattern interrupt and a break. And so I could tell you that when you put these two things in conjunction and you move in this direction, like things are going to go crazy. And then at the end, we got something super special tonight. But check this out. I am so excited to introduce this guy. If you've ever had trouble working on your mobile device, that was why we had the question this morning. Like the mobile device, sometimes that Facebook Pages Manager sucks. But right now, tonight, we're going to have Mr. Les Murphy shredded up. What's up, Les?
This is always a good start to a tech segment is when the presenter can't even unmute his own microphone. Always a good way to start. So, yeah, this is something that we as a scientists see a lot is, hey, I've got the Pages Manager app. I'm having problems. So we've all been there. Honestly, 9 times out of 10, you just got to get it to update and you're good. But that gives us this opportunity to really talk about why you want to push through, learn it, and really start to understand what you can do with it, because it can be a very, very powerful tool for you. And I know as much as some of us want to step away from our phones, it's nice to have that in your back pocket, pun intended, instead of having to lug around, your laptop all the time, so you can still keep tabs on your business. Now, I already had trouble unmuting myself, but let's see if I can't share not only my screen, but my phone screen, and really start having fun with the tech. Look at that, we can do it. I have to publicly vent at Sean for not only putting me on the spot for this, but making me figure out how to share my phone screen at the drop of a hat. We can do it though. Technology, it's there. A pro tip for you, if you ever have to do something like this, put your phone in Do Not Disturb before you start sharing it, because who knows what's going to come through, and you don't want people to see that. I like to keep it nice and friendly. This is Finnegan. This is one of our 5 dogs. You'll see him around on our page if you're ever there. But I want to kind of jump in here and start showing you one of the first reasons why you really need to have your Pages Manager app, not just the Facebook app, because you can't control your page from the Facebook app. So you need to have the actual Pages Manager. And before I even get into that, one of the things that I want to show you right away is simply that if you catch that amazing picture that you just have to show. You don't want to wait until later and figure out, how do I get it off my phone, do my computer, sifting through the 2 terabytes of pictures that I've got on Dropbox or OneDrive or iCloud, wherever you use them. You can do that right from your phone. So you saw, I just dropped into my gallery. I'm on Android. I apologize to any Apple users. It's going to be like I'm talking a foreign language. I assure you, everything I'm doing on my Android phone, you can do on your Apple phone. If not, go to one of those white boxes. They'll help you out there. So I'm going to hit share on this. And you can see all sorts of fun stuff pops up. And look, right up here at the top, Pages Manager. We play with a lot of different stuff. So we're going to hit our page here. And now, boom, I'm right into sharing this lovely picture of, I think that's Luigi and Friday. There's a lot of animals around here. So you can jump in there, you can tag it, you can put stuff on it. Luigi and cat. Luigi is a cat. For those of you not in the Eastern time zone, it's after bedtime here. So we're a little sleep deprived even with a nap. Throw what you want in there. And now the other really cool thing is even from the sharing option in your phone, look, how do you want to publish this? Do you want to post it now, or do you want to schedule it? So you can schedule out a post from your phone from wherever you are, which is great if you can't remember, if you got something thrown out there on the schedule. Today's all set, tomorrow needs a little love. you put that out there. I'm going to post now because, come on, that's a cute picture and everybody should see that right away. Boom, done. And it will load itself up there. So let's jump back over here. There's Finn. Now let's actually go into Pages Manager. Hopefully you guys have already gotten this. You've already seen it. And you've played with it a little bit, because we're now going to jump into some of the really cool things that you can do on here so you don't have to go back to your laptop, to your computer, and really get into some of the nitty-gritty that you really want to see on the computer. So if we look down here at the bottom, you've got these fun 5 icons. First one, that's the actual page. This weird squiggly centipede looking thing, that's actually the insights. You can pull up insights for the last 28 days right from your phone. Now, are you going to be able to dig as deep as you can? Are you going to see audience retention on a video? No, you're not. It's still an app on your phone, so it's not going to give you everything. But if you just want to see how things are doing, hey, how did it go with these different posts that I've got out? Which one went well? Cats versus dogs, which one went better? So you can see your reach, you can see your engagement. Drop of right up at the top, you can see what your post reach for the last week the last 28 days has been. All your engagements, link clicks, all that good stuff, it's right there. It gives you a nice quick snapshot of how your page is doing. You want to dig deeper, and say you got to go to your laptop. But if you're kicking it in a pool in Texas and you want to make sure your page is still rocking, you can do that. All right, so that's the big one. Number 2, coming across here, this guy, this is an inbox. Now, for some of you younger folks at home, there was this stuff called paper. It was made from trees. People would write things in ink, and then you would file it in an inbox on someone's desk. Okay? All right, that's a little history for you there, just so you understand what that icon is. I know the kids get confused out there. This is where all of your notifications come through. The first one that comes up with the messenger icon, that's actually the messenger for your page. So you can receive and send messages right away, right from your phone. Coming straight across the top on it, you can also see any interaction that you've had on your page. So you can see who's liked your page, who has responded and dropped a comment. And you can go in and you can hit comments right from here. The one caveat that I will give you on this one, still have the Instagram button over here. Honestly, I would not recommend the Pages Manager for Instagram. The Instagram app, they designed Instagram with that app in mind. They go hand in hand. No matter who owns Instagram, that app is the way to go for everything. So you can see that you're getting responses and comments, but you really can't comment back or like, follow, whatever play you're making on Instagram from here. Know that it's there, know that you can see it, know that you can link the two, but go into your Instagram app when you want to do Instagram. It's so much better for it. All right, inbox. Other thing I want to show you is, let's say, all right, so I had somebody unsubscribe today. It happens, no big deal. We unsubscribed them from the ManyChat. I don't need to deal with this message anymore. I don't need to do anything else with it. I can come up to these 3 dots here, and as you can see at the bottom, I've got follow up, done, or spam. I don't know about you, but I haven't got a lot of spam on my business page, but it happens. You can mark it that way if somebody's throwing you some weird stuff. You want to star them for follow-up. This is where you can do it. Or, like I'm going to do with this one, we can just say done. And it drops it out, and it moves it into like a done filed box. You can still get to them, So all your done is here, all your spam is here, all your follow-up is here, all your unread is here. So there's a lot that you can do here, and you can really organize all of these messages. You can see I've got a couple with stars. They're ones that I want to keep up on and keep following up with, and just kind of keep pushing them along and hoping that they're going to make that decision. And you can do that all from your phone. And all you have to do, and all we did with Melissa, was come up here and click tag for follow-up. Now, if I didn't want to follow up with her, I would remove her from follow-up. I don't want to do that. We want to stay on here. She is awesome. I'm dying for her to join up because her story is amazing. Okay. Powerful app, but some things that we want to avoid doing in here because it looks like you can do a lot with it. Don't. I'm going to jump over to this toolbox here. I'm going to skip some stuff just because this one, you're going to see it as soon as you come here. Your eyes are going to lock on it because it's what we do. And it's this ads management button. You can go in here. You can see what you're spending, who you're reaching, and how your ads are actually doing. But don't make any ads from here. And that's because this portion of Ads Manager in the app actually works more like boosting an ad from your Pages Manager. And we won't get into all the reasons why you don't want to do that, but the algorithms that are in Ads Manager itself are much better than just boosting. You're going to get more bang from your buck doing that. That's all we're going to say on that one. Those are my big 5. I skipped the alarm, or I skipped the bell here. That's all your notifications, all the stuff that's happening. You can go through and wrong button. That's what happens when you try and control your phone from your laptop with the mouse. You hit wrong things. Back over here. No, ooh, that's not it. Settings. You can adjust your notifications so you don't want to see all that stuff popping up, dinging up your phone the whole time. Turn these on and off. Personally, for me, I want to know the instant I get a message, the instant I get a comment, so I can just jump on that and keep that high rate of response on my page. That's the big thing that still plays a lot into how Facebook treats your app, treats your page by how responsive you are to the people commenting and responding to you. So I like to keep that on there, but if your page gets too crazy, it's digging too much, you know you've got a mini chat bot handling all that in the background, go ahead, turn them off. I like the personal touch. It's all a matter of personal preference. If you haven't jumped on the mini chat yet, and I urge you to do that. That's a big game changer. But if you don't want to get on it yet, you don't want to work with it yet, under settings, you do have this messaging settings, and you can set up just a quick instant reply. It's like a mini chat bot right there for you. All it does is say, hey, thanks, we'll get back to you. But it's there. So it's kind of like a gateway into ManyChat. All right, Chris told me, not Chris, Sean. Wait, which one's the one with the beard? Which one has the beard? That's the one.
Chris.
The other one. The other one told me I got 10 minutes and I need to shut it. But I got one more. Out there for you. If you guys want me to go over, and if you do, I need you to drop "That's Not Coffee" in the chat roll, and I will show you a secret that I don't even think Sean knows about the Manager app.
That was a really good line. Everyone seems to like that one.
Well, the joke's on them. It really is coffee. I just pressed it a minute ago. It's still nice, hot, and fresh.
So good. So good.
All right. Well, sorry. I guess nobody wants to see it. So, Aaron, already. Oh, no. I can't do that to these people. Okay. So, This is for all of you working that messenger hustle, which is always a great play. It's good. It's free. Learn it, live it, love it. Let's go back into our inbox. Let's grab one of our messages here. We're going to bring her up. Now, I already tagged her for follow-up, but that's not necessarily that helpful. That just tells me I need to follow up with her, but not why or when. Let's explore what we can do under these 3 dots. No, it's not under the 3 dots. So when we click her, again, check it out. We can find out some quick, easy info about her. We can jump over to the details on her, but we can also add a label right here, and we can say, oh, I want to follow up with her. I want to follow up with her tomorrow, but, there we go. Little lag between the phone and my computer. So tomorrow is the 18th. We're just going to say the 18th. Add. So just like on your desktop, you can add labels right from there. It takes an extra second, but you can see like down here, I got a label here. It's going to show up right on your inbox, right on your phone. It's always there for you to check it out. You can even then search by those labels. Lag is killing me over here.
Your
Yeah, I've
laptop
updated
needs
it.
coffee.
It does, right? All right, it doesn't want to work for me because it's tired too. I would pour coffee into this, but I actually like this laptop, so we're not going to do that. All right, that is what I've got for you. That is everything that I've found and feel like sharing tonight with you. More next time, kids.
Oh my gosh, Les is on fire. Just when you thought it was over, it wasn't. And he comes back with real coffee, freshly pressed, and some more hacks within Facebook, the fan page app. All right, next up, Aaron's sitting there watching this presentation. I can tell you one thing, he's not scared. He has no fear because he's talking about how to face it, how to overcome it. He's been there, done that, and he's going to show us how to do the same things. See, when he first came out and he won one time, but then he came back and then he did it again, and then he went bowling-style turkey on us with a 3-peat, and now he's back for round 4, but the question is, can he face his fear in 4-peat? Aaron, what you got for us tonight?
All right, well, let's just dive right in here. I'm actually excited. Sean gave me a topic today. I'm like, sweet. So, I love my creative time of building slides out and stuff, and I took some of the stuff from the training that's coming anyway. So let me just get right into this with you guys. Everybody see the slide? Give me a thumbs up on the panel if you guys can see this. All right, so breaking down and overcoming fear. And I want you guys to see the subtitle here because this is very important. Embracing one of your most powerful resources. All right? So that's where we're going to start tonight. Okay? So I use the word resources. First, I want to say that there is so much power harnessed in your fears. This is a little dude wearing a helmet in a slingshot. I'm going to come back to this at the end and explain this, guys. But there is so much power harnessed in your fears. Literally, you guys I'm going to walk you through this tonight. So, embracing one of your most powerful resources. Okay, so I looked up resource in dictionary.com today just to see what it said in the dictionary. And the number 1 definition is a source of supply, support, or aid, especially one that can be readily drawn upon when needed. Now, in our society, in our lives, in most people's lives, fear is their constant companion. It pops up constantly during the day. So obviously it falls into something that is readily drawn upon when needed. Now, most people want to avoid their fears, all right? One of the things we're going to talk about is changing the way you look at things today. So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I'm going to come back to that, but realize that your fear, when you do change the way you look at it, is a resource for you. It's a source of supply, it's support. It's something that aids you rather than something you want to avoid. Okay, so let's dive into this a little bit deeper. So some of you guys have heard this acronym before, the false evidence appearing real. So what I wrote next to this is it's never reality that you are afraid of. It's the story you tell about it. You guys have heard me talk about this before, or if you haven't, okay, there is reality and there's the story you tell about it. All right, I'm going to step back to a lesson on thoughts. The very fact that I can say your thoughts shows ownership, and the own shows you and that which you own. Just like when you say your car, you own your car. Your computer, you own your computer. Your phone, you own your computer. Most people do not falsely identify and create a false identity in their car, meaning you don't think you're your car. You don't mistake yourself to be your car or your computer or your phone, right? You realize that there is the owner and the owned. Yet when it comes to people's thoughts, their position on things, their opinions, their truth, people, they forget. And they create an identity in their thoughts, and they forget that there's you and there's your thoughts, okay? So, objective reality, okay, is where solutions are. Objective reality means reality without an opinion, an emotion, or basically any judgments around it. It is what it is, okay? Subjective reality, the story you tell about it, is basically where your fears arise, where struggle arises, and where problems arise. Solutions are in objective reality. Problems are in subjective reality. So remember, so a little review. Your thoughts shows the owner of and the owned. Okay? Follow me so far, guys? Okay, good. Type in the chat if you guys are following me so far, if this is making sense to you. Yes, cool. From Dakota. Dakota knows. Dakota's been working with us for a while. All right, so false evidence appearing real. What I want you guys to realize is the story you tell about it makes it false. It turns reality into that which it's not. It turns it into a story. It convolutes it with your fears, your opinions, your judgments, your perspectives, your story about it. So I had somebody argue this with me the other day. I put a post up that said, problems only appear in our mind, nowhere else. And they're like, well, if somebody loses their job, the problem's not in their mind. I'm like, the job, losing your job, objective reality, there's no problem there. And there's solution when you stay in the objective reality. The story you tell about it, oh my God, I lost my job. How am I going to pay my bills? My car payment's due. How am I going to feed my family? That is the story you tell about it. You have to zoom out of that back to objective reality to find your solutions. Okay? So I love this false evidence appearing real, but I want you guys to look at it in that sense. The false aspect comes in your thoughts. Reality is just reality, without any opinion, without any judgment, without any emotional charge around it. The emotional charge, the opinion, the judgment comes up in your story, okay? So, remember that. When you have fear arise, okay, am I in reality or am I in my story? If you're in reactiveness, if you're reactive and you're feeling tense, even if you can't figure out what your thoughts are around it, see where your body is. If you're closed, if you're struggling, if you're feeling nauseous, if you're feeling basically queasy or whatnot, you're in a reactive state, you're in your story. You want to zoom out from that and get an objective reality to be able to find the solutions. When you become an objective reality, when you zoom back out to that, you're actually present. You're in the moment, which is where solutions arise. Okay? So let's go a little bit further down the road about this. I want to talk about the brain. Fight or flight. Fear and doubt typically triggers the fight or flight mechanism in our brain. Now, previously, back in the day, you see some cavemen here, it was because there was a tiger coming to kill you. Okay? That is what triggered the fight or flight mechanism. Through our society, through technology, through television, through basically social media now, which is what it's moving into, the fight or flight mechanism in the brain has been now triggered and basically conditioned to be triggered by emotional and mental issues, not actual physical issues. Okay? So our fight or flight triggers, that cortisol release triggers, we feel like we need to run away from it. We want to avoid. It's like, oh my gosh, we get scared. I gotta go. I gotta run. It's a natural reaction. I should say normal reaction. I call human nature that which we are in our natural state. Human normal is what we're conditioned to be. So I call this human normal where when you have an emotional or mental trigger, something you're reactive to in life, and your fight or flight kicks in, you want to run away from it. Okay? So fear is not real. I know people will argue that. It's a product of the thoughts you create. Now, danger is real. Fear is a choice. Fight or flight was originally part of our brains, and how it was basically designed to be in our brains was to be when danger arose, when we had a physical danger, not a mental and emotional one. Okay? Yet again, through our society, through conditioning, through TV, through media, now through social media at large, fear has basically become something, what we call fear. We misperceive fear as danger, which means we want to avoid it and we want to run from it. Okay, but ultimately it's just our thoughts. Remember the objective and the subjective reality. Your thoughts about things is the story. Okay? And fear is a product of those thoughts. Now, biologically, what is really, really cool, I love to look at the biology of the brain, okay? And one thing that I found that was really cool in my research of the brain and about the fight or flight mechanism, and basically how did the conditioning of our brains shift from danger and wanting to run from a saber-toothed tiger to basically somebody looks down at us, or somebody gives us a dirty look, or somebody doesn't, like somebody says, oh, are you doing some pyramid scheme or something like that, and all of a sudden we want to run from it, right? And what I found that was interesting is the part of the brain that is stimulated first by objective reality is this exact same part of the brain that's stimulated when you're excited. Okay, listen to that again. The part of the brain that's stimulated when you are afraid, the mental and emotional trigger of fear, is the same part of the brain that's stimulated when you are excited. Nervousness, depression, anxiety, okay? The part of the brain that's initially triggered is actually excitement, and then the story you tell about it instantaneously turns it into fear, doubt, anxiety, panic, depression. But initially, the part of the brain that is triggered is not the fight or flight mechanism. It's the part of the brain that lights up and gets you excited. Okay, so it's actually triggering a dopamine release that gets shut down by basically the condition of the fight or flight mechanism through us telling a story very fast. Okay, through basically our experiences. Really cool stuff, guys. And when you understand the biology of the brain, for me and for people that I've coached, it helps them realize that they're not necessarily crazy. Because a lot of times when people have fear or doubts, they think they're crazy. They're like, what am I going to do? I'm never going to get over this. When you realize what we're talking about here is just a conditioned response. It's a groove carved in your brain. It is a neural pathway, guys. And you can fill that one in and carve a new one. How? Repetition of thought, repetition of action. Just like you carved the other one, through conditioned repetition of thought and action. All right, so moving right along here. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. Okay? Now, what do I mean by that? Remember, we want to go back to objective reality. We realize here that we are conditioned to be fearful, or to basically have the fight or flight mechanism kick in due to mental and emotional fears. Not real fear, meaning not real danger, but conditioned responses that we've basically been programmed. You know, we've programmed it ourselves. It's been programmed largely without us realizing it, and then we reinforced it. So, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. Fear is a reminder to be present. Let's look at fear differently now. Fear is an indicator that you are not present, that you're living in the past, and you're projecting that past into the future, thus continuing to attract and create circumstances to reinforce your fears. Okay, guys, you're literally taking bricks and you're paving the path in front of you with past experience. So again, you're in a reactive state. You programmed your subconscious mind to be reactive, not responsive. You can have responsiveness in your subconscious mind, which means you guys know how to get out of bed in the morning. You know how to brush your teeth. You know how to take a shower. Hopefully, those things have actually become habits of responsiveness to life in your subconscious mind. You also condition your subconscious mind to be reactive by labeling something as fear, labeling something as wrong, as bad, as evil, as something you don't like. Okay? So with that, it's a reminder to be present. You can say, oh, I'm afraid. This is a reminder for me to be present, to be in the moment, because when I'm not present, I am basically by default unconsciously creating my life, meaning creating the exact same path that I'm trying so badly and wanting so badly and desperately to get off of, right? We create basically the exact same path, the same energetic path, the same energetic lesson until we learn it. And how do we learn it? When we become aware. How are we aware? When we're present. Okay? So look at fear as a reminder to be present. Oh, thank you. If something reminds me to be present, I give gratitude for it. So you can say, wow, awesome, thank you. Thank your fears. All they are is life reminding you to be present. Okay? Now, a lot of people say, how is that possible, Aaron? How can something I fear or doubt be something to be thankful for? Well, guys, guess what? anything that you fear, anything that you doubt, remember we're talking about mental and emotional. We're not talking about the saber-toothed tiger that you see when you're walking your dog that you need to truly run from, okay? I don't think you actually have seen one, but it's not about fear. And I'm actually going to get into that in a second. I'm going to talk to something you guys all said here in the beginning, which is very interesting because it's in my presentation here. It's kind of funny to me. So think of it as a reminder. And basically, when you're afraid, when you have doubt that is from past conditioning, when you have regrets, it's because you misunderstood life. You misperceived what was happening, okay? By misunderstanding it, you made it wrong, you made it bad, you made it something you didn't feel good, so you want to avoid it now, okay? So what happens? You recreate the situation again. Obviously, sometimes it's usually different players. I've given examples in the past of almost spooky similarities when I recreated my lessons. I did that last time I taught. But usually it's different players, different circumstances, a different town, a different job, a different relationship, a different business, a different system, a different training, a different whatever it is. But it's energetically exactly the same, okay? And we recreate that because we misunderstood the lesson, we misunderstood life previously and labeled it as something that we regret, and now we fear it, we doubt it, and we project it into the future. So by misunderstanding it, we miss the lesson, we miss the blessing, we miss the gift. So life says, okay, let's trigger that fear again. It's a gift, so you can unwrap it. So you can unwrap it and see the beauty, see the gift that was there. That's why we have fears and doubts. That's why things in life trigger us. They trigger us to help us become more aware, to become more insightful, which helps us become more, I'm going to call it exciteful or outward sightful. I'm making up words now, but that's cool, right? So the more we know about ourselves, the more we can know about others. Okay, because we're technically all the same. So remember, change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So when you get afraid, when you have a fear come out, a doubt come up, go, wow, awesome. Thank you, life, universe, God, whatever you choose to call it, for reminding me to be aware. I've been walking around, in a daze again. Okay? So let's talk about a couple other ways that can work for you. And it's always a choice. Fear is an indicator of things you actually need to and must do. The greater the fear, the greater the payoff. Fears are basically obstacles. I like to think that obstacles are stepping stones. And I like to think that the larger the stone, the higher I rise. Think about that. The biggest obstacle you can think of, you climb on top of that one. What kind of view are you going to have from up there? It gives me chills to think about that, guys. The larger the stone, the higher you rise. The greater the fear, the greater the payoff. Okay? Think about that. This is another thing. Yeah, it doesn't mean it's not going to be fearful. This is what is truly meant by that cliche of feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay? When you feel the fear, it means you're owning that fear. You're becoming personally responsible. You realize that it's an indicator. It's something to help you become more present. It's something to remind you that you missed the lesson. You misperceived that experience, and you're getting the chance to do it again. Yay! That's awesome. That's something to give gratitude for because it means you're going to be more free. You're going to basically, on the other side of that fear is your freedom, an expanded version of. Another one, see your fears as a magnetic force pulling you to that which you desire. Now, this is a new way for me to phrase this, and this was from somebody in our community. His name is Dakota. He did a live like a week ago or so saying that he was afraid to do something. He was afraid to go talk to somebody, talk to a prospect. And he decided to see that prospect, that basically experience when he drove up to this business that he wanted to go in and talk to people. He decided to see it as a magnet. So it's when he was getting closer, instead of wanting to avoid it, he pictured it pulling him towards it. And he literally pictured pulling it through his fears, towards his fears, to the other side. And guess what? It was awesome. Typically what we fear it's not going to happen, right? It's not as bad as we think it is, guys. It's really not. It's usually completely projected in our mind. And again, remember, it's that subjective reality. Okay? Give me 1 second. I'm going to turn the light on. I noticed it was getting darker and darker as it got darker outside. So fear is darkness, though, so it was somewhat symbolic, right? But now we're coming into the light because we're changing the way we look at things. And then the things we look at change. Okay? So let's go a little bit further here. Keeping this concise. Now, fear and doubt and the space we invite others into. I wanted to bring this into business building for you guys tonight. And this picture, it's funny how you guys were talking about swimming in the ocean and swimming with the dolphins and stuff like that. And some people have fear with that. Now, I have no physical fears. I don't have any physical fears. I got my share of mental and emotional ones, but I have no physical fears. I never have. This isn't a picture of me, but there's several times when I've gone to Hawaii and whatnot that I've swam with sharks. Okay? Now, typically, I want you guys to listen closely because I'm going to go into the space that we create to invite others into. Okay? Now, typically, I would be out with a friend of mine who owns one of those, the charter boats that takes people out and they can go scuba diving and snorkeling and whatnot. And there, you can go swim with the turtles, and then at one point we go and swim with the sharks. Now, every time I've ever done this, he's like, "Who wants to go swim with the sharks?" I jump up immediately, but I'm the only one. I've been the only one. So what they say is, Aaron and Scott are going to go down and swim with the sharks, and then afterwards, those of you who want to go down and observe the sharks, we will take you down to a perimeter where you'll feel safe, right? Now, this is what's really interesting, guys. We go down there, we swim with the sharks, we pet them, they're swimming around us, they're very calm, they're very docile, they're just swimming around everything we do, right? But what was really interesting was one of the times there was a lot of people that came down to the perimeter that they basically brought people to. I didn't know it was happening, but all of a sudden the sharks started getting really frantic and swimming totally different. Okay? And I'm like, I looked at my buddy, I'm like, what's going on? And he points, and I look back, and there's all the people. Okay? Now, they sense energy, just like a dog does, just like people do. So when they sense the fear of the group, they started to become afraid and acted totally different. Okay? Now, they didn't bother us, but they were literally started swimming totally different and frantically. It was really bizarre to see, but it was a prime example of how the space that we project, the energy we project, actually shifts and changes the space that we're projecting. Okay? So we sense this stuff too, just like a dog does, just like sharks do, just like any animals do. Some of you guys may know this, but when a dog barks at you and you're afraid of that dog, the dog becomes more afraid. Right? Why is this person afraid? If they're afraid, I'm going to be afraid. I mean, I haven't had a conversation with a dog, but that's basically biologically and scientifically what happens. They sense the fear and they become more afraid, so therefore they become more aggressive. Okay? Now, people are that way to a degree as well. Okay? So, talking about fear and doubt in the space that we invite others into, I want to talk about this for a second. It's all about how we choose to show up and flow through our fears. Okay? We can be in a state of avoidance, meaning fear of our fears, or we can be in a state of acceptance, basically a facet of love with our fears. The feel the fear and do it anyway, right, is about being present, being aware, and being in a state of personal responsibility with your fears. The only reason people are afraid of anything that is mental and emotional is because they're afraid of what might happen. They're afraid of rejection. They're afraid that they won't show up confidently enough. They're afraid that somebody will put them down. Okay? Now, when we're in a state of avoidance, others will want to avoid us. They're going to close up. They're going to close to what we have said. When we're in a state of acceptance, personal responsibility, they will open to it. So what does this look like? Okay? Some people say, well, I'm afraid though. So own that fear. Realize, okay, I'm afraid. Why am I afraid? Well, I'm afraid because I've been rejected before. I'm afraid because I don't feel like I know my stuff. I'm afraid because I'm afraid that I'm going to be asked a question I'm not going to be able to answer. Okay? So you're owning your fear, right? You're taking personal responsibility. It's really not about the other person. Even if you've talked to them before and they've rejected you before, okay? It's not about them. It's how you showed up and flow through that, and it's how you show up and flow through it again the next time, the current time, okay? So when you're in a state of avoidance, when you're in a reactive state of avoidance and you have fear and doubt in the energy space you're projecting, others are going to close up to it. They're going to say they're going to do basically one of three things. They're going to not be interested. Nah, I'm not interested. They're going to attack you and say, this is a scam. What do you think you're doing? How dare you do this? Or even if, like, say you reach out to a friend or a family member, or somebody you haven't talked to in a while. I deal with this a lot of times with my team. It's like, well, I don't want to call somebody I haven't called in a while because they're going to think I'm just calling them for this. Like, then call them and say, hey, you know what? Own it, but I'll get that in a second. Or they're going to defend their reason why they do not want to do what you're talking about. Okay? One of those three things. Aloof, like, not interested. They're going to basically attack you and tell you you're wrong, you're crazy, you're doing a scam, why are you doing this? Or they're going to basically defend why they don't want to. Why? Because fear and doubt is in the energy space, and people don't like fear and doubt. Okay? They close to it from life. Reactively, from the brain. They judge it as bad. In their brain, basically makes their body close physically. Makes them queasy, makes them not like it. Now, when you own your fear, when you feel the fear and you do it anyway, when you feel the fear and you do it anyway, okay, and you take responsibility and you say, okay, I'm afraid because I lack confidence. I'm not sure if I'm afraid of not being able to answer a question. I'm afraid of being rejected because I've been rejected before, okay? And you own that. You accept that in you, and then you accept that the fear is not about somebody else. It's about you. Now, your energy space, does it still have fear and doubt? Yes, it does. But it has fear and doubt that is infused with, you're flowing through that fear and doubt with acceptance. And what's crazy is when I have people test this and they actually do it, a few things happen. They go in and somebody does say, well, you know what? Instead, they almost say the same things, but in a different way. They're like, you know what? Is this a scam? You know, I like what you're saying, but is it a scam? And then because there's acceptance in there, people are more accepting of the feelings that arise in them. And then with acceptance in yourself and not fear, or you're basically feeling fear and doing it anyway, you can become vulnerable and you can do the feel, felt, found thing. You know what I mean? But you know what? I felt the same way. You know? And I thought it was a scam, and then I found out it wasn't. You know what I mean? And you're vulnerable. You can say, you know what? People are like, I'm afraid to do this. I don't think I can learn it. I'm afraid too. I'm learning too. So you're open, you're vulnerable when you're in a state of personal responsibility. Okay? So it's key to understand that we cannot control people, yet we do control the space we invite them into. And if you own that space, you own your fears and doubt, you take personal responsibility for them, the way people react in your space is going to be completely different. They're going to open to you because there's a safe energy in there. You're making it safe for yourself. Primary relationship is with yourself. Secondary is with everybody else. So you're being compassionate and understanding and empathetic with yourself. Therefore, that energy is infused in that fear that's in the space. It's still there. It's just flowing from the inside out responsively rather than reactively. Okay, everybody following me there? Swim with manta rays, cool. Okay, I'm afraid of spiders. They are bigger than me no matter what you say. So somebody's talking about spiders. So I will tell you that much. Now, fear is non-acceptance of uncertainty. If we accept uncertainty, it becomes adventure. Think about that. Remember what I was talking about, the part in our brain. The initial part of our brain is where excitement is. Adventures are exciting. They're fun. There's something we look forward to, right? Even when we've been on adventures, like going on a hike or going into a cave or something like that. I don't know if you guys have done that kind of stuff. Or like swimming with sharks, swimming with dolphins in the ocean. You know, there's a sense of adventure. You're still moving through it, right? So think about that. Fear is nothing more than non-acceptance of that which you're uncertain of. That's it. And when you accept the uncertainty, when you feel the fear and you do it anyway, it becomes an adventure. That simple. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about here is fear has two meanings. You guys have heard this too. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. Another acronym. I think that's pretty cool. We want to either avoid, right? Or we face it. It's fight or flight. You guys can choose how you do it. Now remember that first picture. I want to finish that thought for you guys. There's so much power harnessed in your fears. You've been pulling yourself back for a long time. When you finally face your fears, you will find yourself propelled by this power like a slingshot, not only through your fears, but so much further beyond what you ever imagined. All right, guys, so feel the fear, do it anyway, change the way you look at things. Remember, fear is a reminder to be present. Fear is an indicator that it's something that you must do to succeed, all right? Fear is nothing to be afraid of. And I'm going to close it off with that.
Woo! Oh my goodness, Aaron, dude. Damn. Every time you bring massive fire. If that was fire, guys, write that in the chat roll. The poll has just dropped. Guys, tonight's episode was about polarity, and I think Aaron did a phenomenal job of covering polarity. One thing that I want to talk about, which really, really fascinating, if you're starting to build your ads for the very first time, think about polarity, right? We talked about that earlier. Wanted to throw a last example at you while you guys are voting before we release the polls to you. Chris, I freaking hate deep dish Chicago-style pizza. What are you going to say to me when I tell you that? Because I know you love it.
Well, that's funny. I was going to say, there's a portion of America that no longer likes you, Sean, because that's largely offensive. And here's the thing. I got to go to Chicago and sit down and indulge in a traditional, like authentic Chicago pizza experience. And I could tell, like, there's a lot of thought and love and pride that went into this whole situation. And so just mentioning a comment like that is it's polarizing. It's going to drive a lot of attention.
And so, yeah, so I just wanted to share that. And we could go on and have this argument. I know, Aaron, and you could probably jump in. Do you like Chicago-style deep dish pizza, bro?
I do. I love it, but I also like New York-style pizza. I love it, you know.
Yeah,
but
I've
been to Chicago and had the authentic experience with it too. Yeah,
I did that too, and then I had heartburn, and I stayed up for 2 days because my body couldn't handle it, and that's why I hate deep dish Chicago-style pizza. So it's an experience. I get that. But here's the thing, guys. I wanted to share that with you tonight because think about how polarizing that is. If you're building an ad for the first time, try to get super polar. I just said I hated Chicago-style pizza, and then you're going to have, on the other hand, people love that type of pizza. That's the stuff that captures attention when you're dropping ads. Just wanted to share that last little bit. Aaron, I'm actually going to ask you, is that a true statement?
Yeah, absolutely. But I do want to add that you don't hate Chicago-style pizza, you hate your experience of it.
Okay, yes, you're completely right. Absolutely. Yeah, point for you again. All right, guys, well, that's it. That's going to bring us to the end of the show. Before Chris drops the poll, check this out. Next week, if you guys have ever been thinking about a podcast, next week is the week. Why? Because we have our special guest, Daxie. We met him at Offer Lab. This dude runs podcasts for all the top dogs. He's going to walk us through a really simple program and platform and like how you can build a podcast of your own. He's going to answer any questions about podcasts. Be here next week. Well worth your while. There is going to be an after party next week for him. And actually, there's an after party tonight as well. Chris, do you want to mention that before you drop the answer?
Yes. Tonight, all VIPs, be sure to come hang out. We have special guest speaker, Kat, that's coming out. She is a Dave Ramsey certified specialist. She followed all 7 baby steps of the Dave Ramsey program. If you guys know what that means, it means that she's completely debt-free. When she started with roughly $130,000 of debt. But today she's month-to-month cash flow positive, giving, saving, investing, and growing. So really, really powerful story for VIPs. Be sure to jump on. If you guys want to be a part of VIP and you want to build some more of these connections and be on a kind of an intimate panel where you get to ask questions and really dig into your own life and business and apply stuff, go into Digital Genius Lab to the left where it says VIP Lab, and you guys can apply. There's 20 max people in there right now. We keep it small on purpose. So if you want to, as spots open up, or if we open that program back up at some point and you want to be in the mix, be sure to go there, enter your name and email to get registered there.
Awesome. Les, let's go to you. What was your favorite part tonight?
I think the 15 minutes that I talked is probably my favorite part right there. But I would do that all day, every day. So I'm going to say my favorite part was Chris's beard.
Fantastic. Chris's beard got a vote. Chris, who do you vote for?
I love the fanship of my facial hair. This is good. Okay. Oh, man. Favorite part. So Les totally surprised me when they clicked the name and the label. I was like, this is so small. Why am I so excited right now? That was really cool on that part. And then the additional acronym for fear with Aaron's part, I was like, yes, that's so good. Face everything and rise. Another note that I put down, the greater the fear, the greater the payout. Events that trigger us are challenging us to become more aware and learn. The more we know ourselves, the more we understand others. Those are a few huge takeaways that really resonated with me. So as always, thank you, Aaron, for coming out and sharing just your experiences and what you know and who you are.
Yeah,
how about you, Sean?
Yeah, most definitely. I actually will go ahead and vote for Aaron as well, simply because he just caught me. He always catches me with these one-liners, and I'm just like, Les had it all the way up until this one-liner. But it was repetition of thought and repetition of action equals new neural pathways in your brain. You can form them, you can build them, you can reshape your mind. That concept blew me away tonight, so thank you for that, Aaron. Appreciate that. And back over to you. Who's your choice for tonight?
So, I got to say that I really loved what Les had to share. I did have to work through my subjective judgments that he was using an Android phone. I had to allow the compassion and understanding to arise for him, and know that just, some people are just not as far along the path in understanding technology. That's cool. So after I worked through that, I was like, wow, this is awesome. And I actually popped up my pages app. I didn't even know it was on my phone, and it blew my mind, all the things that you can actually do on that app. So that was really awesome, and which gave you my vote tonight. Even though, it was tough for me I had to take some deep breaths and work through the Android issue, but it's okay. I don't know you, but I'm not going to hold it against you. I'm going to suspend that.
I totally understand. When I saw that you were on a Mac doing your presentation, I had some heart palpitations, but I said, why am I fearing this? It's just because I don't understand why someone would want to pay an extra $1,000 for something because it has a missing bite out of the fruit. I don't get it. I don't know.
Partial fruit, partial technology. It makes us polarizing language.
Polarizing, guys. That's the message for tonight. Look how polarizing this is, and everyone's in the conversation, right? Drop ads like this. Be polar about some stuff. Like, it works every time.
I gotta say, there's more Android force in the chat tonight. I don't know where the iPhone, the Apple folks are at, but the Team iPhone.
There. We get more questions on the page that the scientists have to answer because all of the training is done on a Mac, and the rest of us that are on PCs, like the other 95% of the group, are like, I don't have that? What is it? Well, it's File Explorer or not. It's all our whole time. I have like hours of looms just explaining how to do it on a PC.
Wow. Well, thank you, Les, for doing that. I'm really grateful. Guys, you should be grateful for scientists. That's why Les is amazing, dude. Thank you for doing that. I just appreciate it of you a million times. All right, Chris, drop the poll results. Let's see who gets to take the cake. Woo! The four-peat. Holy smokes, the four-peat.
A lot of love for Apple tonight.
Wow, man.
Well, Aaron, I'm going to give you a challenge. There's only one other person in the history of DGL to ever go bigger than 4, right? There's one person that made it all the way to 11. So, not back-to-back-to-back, though. There's a 5-peat back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back, and then that person actually ended up winning 11 different golden belts over the career. So that's your new record if you want it. Next week, we won't have any Golden Belt champions. We're just going to have a guest speaker for next week. So it'll probably be the following week, if you're cool with that. If you guys, of course, you want Aaron to come back, I do. That's why I'm asking him publicly here. But as we always do at the end of the time, guys, don't forget next week we got Daxie coming out for podcast. But Aaron did such a great job tonight, dude. Thank you so much for bringing the noise like you always do. Please say a few good words, and let's shut this puppy down.
Absolutely love it. I'm definitely going to go for the 5-peat and then the 6, and then, let's just make it consecutive, so it's all good. I'll bow out at some time, so let somebody else. I'm just kidding. The last thing I want to say, though, is, guys, it's not what we do, it's not what we say, it's not what we think, it's how we show up and flow through those things. So when you are doing your ads, remember the energy space I talked about that we invite others into. That applies to your posting, it applies to your ads. We have tested this and trained this for the TV show participants that we're working through the Race to 100K, where we literally have them, when they're posting or their ads, they basically go through their process, whatever grounds them. They release any need for somebody to reply, any need for somebody to comment, any need for somebody to like. And when they do that, their traction and their engagement skyrockets, okay? So remember that. When you're getting ready to post your ad, release your expectations, release your attachments, and freely give, because it's in the giving that we receive. And if you stay in that flow, if you're giving, all you can do is receive, and you'll see it happen.
That's awesome, guys. We will catch you all next week. Same time, same channel. Train or Die episode 1. Oh, man, Chris, where are we at? 148 is in the books. We'll talk to you guys later.